I must mention that one of the most difficult aspects of parenting is getting your spouse to be on the same page with you. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about parenting as a team with your spouse, the importance of parenting as a team with your spouse, and how to get your spouse to be on the same page with you as regards your parenting style and your discipline strategies. My name is Olufumi Odumuagun. I am a homemaking coach and I share different types of homemaking content that can change the trajectory of your home for good on my YouTube channel and on all social media platforms at Dr. Homemaking. So, what are the benefits of parenting as a team? Or what is parenting as a team in itself? Parenting as a team is basically working hand in hand with your spouse towards a common goal as regards raising your kids and creating a harmonious environment for your children to thrive. What are the benefits of working hand in hand with your spouse? It will help you to reduce stress, it will help you to reduce burnout, it will create a more peaceful home environment, and above all, you're going to be modeling to your children how to work in unity with each other and with people generally, and how to love each other as well. So I must mention that one of the most difficult aspects of parenting is getting your spouse to be on the same page with you. It is not usually easy because we all come from different backgrounds, we all have different mindsets, mentalities, traumas, and different factors that contribute to how we think and we parent. So getting your spouse to be on that same page sometimes can be very difficult, and that is why I am talking about this today, so that we can navigate this together and walk through these challenges and come up with solutions to the problem. So if you grew up in a home where parents didn't agree and did exact opposite of everything, you would understand this video better. Or if you've seen videos on social media where the mother is saying drop that thing and the father is saying I said pick it up, and both of them are arguing, you will know that this is so much chaos and can cause confusion to the kids. This will end up leading to raising kids who lack values, kids who are manipulative, because trust me, no matter how good your kids are, when they see that you do not agree, they are going to manipulate both of you. They are going to use you against each other to get their wish done and to become lawless children. Also, this kind of behavior can lead to your kids also being poorly behaved or badly behaved, or even cause trauma and confusion for them generally. So if you're a parent, this is a place where you don't want to be. You don't want to be constantly disagreeing with your spouse in front of your kids, because it is generally not healthy for your kids. However, if you found yourself in this situation already where you are constantly fighting or arguing with your spouse regarding your children in front of your children, then you need to watch this till the end. And if you're not in this space yet, whether your kids are still very little, I would say please watch this video till the end, so that you can know the strategies to implement to avoid this in your marriage. Because trust me, this can happen to anybody, no matter how well behaved you are. You can find out that you are constantly at loggerheads with your spouse regarding your kids. So firstly, if you are already in this situation, the first thing I would recommend is that you meditate deeply on this issue. What is the cause? What are your triggers? Why do you argue in front of your kids? Why do you and your spouse not agree on certain things? Reflect on it deeply, take your time, journal and write things down. The second thing I will talk about is how it is important that you communicate effectively and deeply with your spouse about your parenting style and your discipline style. So I will say at this point that it is important that you do not parent with instincts. A lot of our parents parented with instincts. They just did what they knew best, and most times when you do what you know best or what is right in your eyes, most times it ends in disaster. If you are familiar with reading the Bible, you will know this scripture where they say the children of Israel did what was right in their eyes. Most times when people do what is right in their eyes, many times they are usually doing the wrong things. So I would say here and now that you should try not to parent with instinct, that is, parent with knowledge. Make sure that you and your spouse are sitting down together to talk actively about what parenting style you want to adopt for your kids, what discipline strategies you want to adopt for your kids. Don't just do things as they come. Don't just respond based on your instinct or how you think or know best, because most times you might end up raising children who are emotionally deregulated, children who are a mess, children who are not able to live to their full potentials. Some of the things that you need to talk about with your spouse are your discipline strategies. How do you intend to discipline your kids? What is your goal of discipline? Like I usually say, and like I said in the last video, the goal of discipline is to guide and to raise a child who is wholesome in all rounds of life, a child who is emotionally, mentally, physically wholesome, not a broken child, not a child who has inferiority complex or superiority complex. You want to raise a wholesome and all-round child. That is your goal of discipline. Your goal is not necessarily to achieve control or to make them subdued. Your goal is to raise a child, a human being who will grow up to be an adult who is wholesome on all rounds in every aspect of life. So under this, I'm going to be talking about how to get your spouse to be on the same page with you as regards parenting and discipline strategies. My first point again is gentle and effective communication. You need to learn to communicate with your spouse in a calm and gentle way about what you think about parenting, what you expect. When you're communicating with your spouse, try to use words that are free from all forms of accusation, and you can learn to use the I statements. You can use words like, I do not like when we don't agree about the bedtime routine of our daughter, instead of saying, you always make this child go to bed late, you always play the television when it's bedtime. Don't accuse your spouse. Instead, bring whatever matter about parenting to them in a very calm way. Communicate calmly. The second point under communicating is communicate ahead of time. When you have problems and chaos, it's not the time to start communicating with your spouse. Learn to communicate ahead of time. Anticipate parenting issues that might come up and talk about it ahead. However, if you have not been able to talk about it ahead, you might want to delay these corrections or these communications till when things have cooled off. You don't want to start discussing with your spouse in the midst of chaos when they are angry or when your children are there or when there's a serious matter at hand. You must learn to communicate ahead or after periods of confusion, not in the midst of the trouble itself. The second point that I will share is talk to your spouse about your shared visions and goals regarding your kids. What kind of children do you want to raise? What values do you want to instill in your children? When you have these goals and values, you can then work together backwards as regards how to raise kids who will grow up to be able to embody these values. For example, you want to raise children who have healthy self-esteem. You might need to talk to your spouse about strategies to ensure this. So you don't want to shout down on them, you don't want to shut them up. This will guide how you would parent, your parenting style, your discipline strategies, when you know your goals and you have values regarding your kids. The third point on how to get your spouse to be on the same page with you is to fix one issue per time. Honestly, you don't want to start talking about everything at the same time. This is how we discipline, this is the chore routine, this is homework routine. Don't talk about everything at the same time. Learn to pick one area of parenting and talk about it per time. For example, you might want to bring up issues about bedtime with your spouse, bedtime for your kids. Talk about that, address it, fix it, and celebrate that little win. And then after some days again, you could bring up another issue and you find out that it will be easy to be on the same page when you discuss issues one after the other instead of saying everything together at the same time. The fourth point I will share is embody that behavior that you desire. For example, if your spouse and yourself are constantly fighting because of an issue and you want your spouse to parent a certain way, let's assume your spouse is always shouting at the kids, is always yelling or flogging. You embody what you are preaching, and with time they would emulate you. When they see that the kids are more receptive to you or they listen to you, they would eventually learn to copy what you're doing. So don't say one thing today and you yourself, you are beating the kids or or shouting or yelling. The fifth point I would say is work on your marriage. Most times when parents are in love, when parents have good marriages, it will be easy to parent as a team. It will be easy to communicate with each other properly, and that way you'll be able to raise your child together as a team. The sixth point I would say is don't correct your spouse in front of your children. This is very important, not only in front of your children, in public places where there are so many people. Try to keep your words to yourself. Try to maintain calm when you're in public places or when your children are there. Try to wait for the private time where you're alone with your spouse, and then you can bring up the issue and talk calmly about whatever issue you might have with your spouse. This way it will be easier to get them to be on the same page with you. The seventh point I will share is read parenting books together. Watch parenting videos, webinars together. So it's not enough to be learning everything about parenting just as an individual. Whatever you're learning, try to make your spouse to read it. And I'm not saying you should force it down their throats or start to nag about them reading. You can find gentle ways to present this to your spouse such that they will begin to read books and watch videos that you are also learning from about parenting. The eighth point I would say is be intentional about emotional intelligence. If you are very emotionally intelligent, you would most likely raise your kids the right way. If both of you are emotionally intelligent, you both will most likely parent as a team, or know when to cut your spouse some slack and know when to speak and when to keep quiet. So investing heavily in emotional intelligence, building emotional intelligence will help you to parent as a team. The ninth point I would say is join a parenting community together. An example of this is the Intentional Parents Academy, TIP. You can join such communities together and learn together from experts who know about parenting, who are schooled and trained to teach parents how to parent properly. Join such groups together and you will find out that it will really help you to parent better as a team. The 10th point I will share is talk to a counselor or a coach if you see that things are not still going well despite all the strategies that you have tried. Don't keep quiet and watch your spouse abuse your kids while you do nothing. Like I said, it's not good to fight with your spouse in front of your children. However, it is also not good to keep quiet and watch your spouse abuse your kids or treat them anyhow. So it's important that if you see that all your strategies are not working, speak to your pastor, speak to a counselor, speak to a parenting coach. Let them teach you, let them guide you on how to get your spouse to be on the same page with you professionally, or how to undo these differences in your own peculiar situation. I know many of us, or many Africans, grew up in homes where one parent was very abusive, will flog children until blood comes out of them, and the other spouse, who is gentler, will just keep quiet and just watch the other spouse abuse the kids. I do not support this. I do not support that you should keep quiet and watch your spouse treat them like animals. But you can speak with a coach or a pastor so that they can guide you on wisdom steps to take to avoid this kind of troubles. The 11th point I will share is the most important, honestly. Pray for God's wisdom. And why I said this, you need God's wisdom to be able to parent with your spouse as a team. And honestly, sometimes there are special situations where you might need to intervene when your spouse is doing something that is outrightly dangerous to the kids. You need wisdom in intervening properly. Sometimes through distractions, you might have to distract your spouse. Hey, babe, can you see this? Just to get them from doing what is very wrong or very dangerous. You might need to learn how to help them to calm down their temper in the moment immediately. So I really recommend that you pray for wisdom every time on knowing how to do this kind of things when special situations arise, because I will still never support that you join to shout and yell at your spouse in the presence of your husband. That wouldn't help anything. But if you have the wisdom of God in you, you might be able to salvage a very difficult situation. You might even just ask him a question. Babe, what do you think about so, and then you just find out that they get distracted, or they are able to rethink their actions properly without you hinting your kids that you disagree with him, or without you fighting with him in front of your kids. The second aspect of parenting as a team that I would like to talk about is sharing responsibility responsibilities in the home towards the kids. There are so many things that we have to do for our kids as couples. Sometimes we need to do household chores, cook for them, especially when you still have little kids. Sometimes you need to drop off your kids at school, take a bath for the kids. In this situation, you also need to learn to parent as a team. The goal is usually not to just split responsibilities 50-50 or traditionally like, oh, the man is supposed to do this, the woman is supposed to do this. I would recommend that spouses communicate about their strengths and things that they are able to accommodate in each season. What do you like to do? Do you prefer to drop the kids off? Is it more convenient for you to drop the kids off while the other person does this thing? The important goal in taking responsibility for your kids is to communicate properly and make sure that roles and tasks are assigned based on strengths, interests of each spouse, and even understanding the seasons that you are as a couple, knowing what to drop off, knowing when to help your spouse cover up for something that they usually do part-time. In all of this, you need God's wisdom to be able to designate roles and assign tasks. And I'm praying that God will help all of us in this parenting journey and help us to parent our children with grace. In Jesus' name. I hope you have learned one thing or the other from this video. If you did, please kindly like this video, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so, and kindly share with others. Follow me on all social media platforms at Dr. Homemaking. Thank you so much for your time and have a good day. Bye.